Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're attempting something, well, a bit ambitious. We're taking two very different sets of teachings.
Very different is putting it mildly.
Right. One is ancient, scholarly, dense early Christian Gnosticism. The other, modern, metaphorical, centered around a snail.
The wise snail, yes. But our mission, yours and mine today, is to look past the surface, past the snail, and synthesize them, find the shared principles underneath.
About reality, consciousness, spiritual realization, the big stuff. We're looking for that thread that connects them across millennia.
Exactly. We're diving into the Gospel of Mary. That's Joe M.A. Coptic text, probably early 2nd century, academically analyzed, complex stuff.
And comparing its core ideas to the Discipleship of the Wise Snail, or DOTWSS, which is, frankly, cryptic and aphoristic.
Yet the claim is both are chasing a kind of hidden knowledge, gnosis, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, that points beyond the material world. That's the common ground we're exploring.
Okay, let's unpack this then. A Gnostic gospel, a wise snail. What could they possibly agree on about how reality, actually works? Where do we even start?
Well, I think we have to start with how they view the physical world itself. Both seem to share a deep suspicion of it, a sense that it's not the final word. It leads to this idea of dissolution.
Okay, dissolution. In the Goa, that's pretty explicit, isn't it? The disciples ask what happens to matter.
Right. And the teaching is stark. All matter. The Greek word is hyle, all forms, all creatures, everything will be dissolved again into their own roots. It's temporary.
And hyla here isn't just neutral stuff, is it? It often carries a negative connotation in Gnostic thought. Base matter may be illusory.
Precisely. It's the realm of illusion, of change, not ultimate reality. And this anti-material view completely reframes their understanding of, spiritual error.
You mean sin, how they define sin.
Exactly. Sin in the Goem isn't about breaking commandments in the way we might usually think. It's defined as acting like the nature of adultery.
Adultery, how does that fit?
Scholars interpret this as a kind of cosmic or philosophical adultery. It's the improper mixing, the joining of your true spiritual self with this temporary, illusory material world.
Ah, okay. So attaching yourself to matter, that's the fundamental error.
Yes. And the text says this attachment generates passion, which then creates a disturbance in the whole body. So living embedded in matter is inherently a state of disturbance.
So if matter is the problem, the disturbance, then truth must lie somewhere else, in its opposite, perhaps. How does the wise snail handle this dissolution idea?
The snail tradition, it leaps right into the deep end, metaphorically speaking. We get this incredible line, "The wise snail set sail on the ocean of non-being and became wise, having discovered the true nature of reality."
Wow. Okay, hold on. Ocean of non-being, that sounds paradoxical. How can you sail on non-being, and how does that connect back to the Gnostic view?
Well, think about it. If the Gnostic error is mixing the true spiritual self with with flawed matter, then the path to truth must involve seeking what isn't mixed, what's purely transcendent. Something beyond physical existence, maybe even beyond being as we normally conceive it.
So sailing on the ocean of non-being is like a metaphor for that ultimate Gnostic goal of dissolution, of returning to the root beyond the material.
I think that's a really strong parallel, yes. Both point towards a truth located in a realm utterly separate from and superior to our everyday physical experience. It requires a break from the material.
Okay, so if external reality is suspect, maybe even an illusion or disturbance, then the search for truth has to turn inward, which brings us to knowledge, consciousness, gnosis itself.
And the Joam is incredibly direct about this. It warns, beware that no one leads you astray, saying, see here or see there, for the Son of Man is within you.
That's radical. No external saviors, no geographical holy places. The divine is internal.
Explicitly internal. The Savior quotes a known saying but gives it a crucial twist. Where the mind, nothos, is, there is the treasure.
Let's talk about nous. That's not just everyday thinking, right? It's a specific concept here.
Right. Nous is the higher intellect, the spiritual mind, maybe even the divine spark within. By placing the treasure salvation, gnosis in the nous, the text is saying, detach this higher mind from the body's distractions, from the passions tied to matter.
So a clear mind focused inwardly, that's the site of salvation.
That's the path. Clear the mind of the material world's noise and disturbances.
Okay, so how does the wise snail mirror this intense internal psychological focus?
Yeah.
It feels like a leap from Gnostic texts to well, snails and chestnuts.
It does, but look at the emphasis. The snail tradition says, quite clearly, in the void of an empty mind lies the potential of a wise saying. Mental clearing is step one.
An empty mind, like the cleared nose.
And then there's that other strange aphorism. Wisdom would not reside in a can of chestnuts if it were not for the wise snail.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. Why chestnuts? Why something so mundane?
I think it's making a powerful point about accessibility, but also about mediation. It suggests wisdom or universal truth is everywhere. It's latent even in the most common things, like a can of chestnuts.
But you need something to reveal it.
Exactly. You need the intermediary. You need the wise snail, which I read as a metaphor for that developed internal faculty, that focused nous to recognize the wisdom hidden in the mundane. It's always there, but you need the right internal state to perceive it.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about looking at the world. It's about having the internal clarity, the gnosis, to understand what you're seeing.
Precisely. But achieving that clarity, that internal focus, it's not easy. It involves struggle. In the gem, the soul's journey upward isn't smooth.
No, it meets those hostile powers, the 7 forms of wrath.
Right. And importantly, these aren't external demons in the way you might picture them. They represent internal states, psychological and spiritual obstacles.
Like vices we have to overcome from within.
Exactly. The text lists things like ignorance, the jealousy of death, and very importantly, desire. The Greek term is epithymia. Overcoming them isn't passive, it's an active struggle. The soul has to assert its superior knowledge to get past them.
And there's that incredible moment when the soul confronts desire, epithemia. How does knowledge win that battle?
The soul basically says to desire, I saw you, but you didn't see or recognize me. I wore you like a garment, but you didn't know me.
Wow. So I experienced the material world. I had passions and desires. I wore that garment. But my true self, my nous, remains separate and unidentified by you, desire.
That's the core of it. It's a declaration of true identity, recognizing the self as distinct from the material entanglements. That realization is the key to transcending desire's power.
That's a powerful image of internal victory. So this path, internal, difficult, demanding struggle, what does it actually require from the person, the seeker? Both traditions seem to emphasize intense personal effort, don't they?
Absolutely. The GUM constantly urges the disciples, follow after him the Son of Man, put on the perfect man. It's an active pursuit. And Mary Magdalene herself is praised precisely because she didn't waver.
Steadfastness, unwavering commitment.
Total commitment. And the DOTWS tradition, interestingly, echoes this need for constant readiness, almost like it's predetermined but still needs cultivation.
You mean the line, even when he was young, the wise snail knew he was going to be wise?
Yes. That suggests an inherent potential, perhaps. But then it's immediately paired with the instruction, always be prepared. Wisdom can happen when you least expect it.
So it's not just waiting for a lightning bolt. It's about maintaining a state of perpetual readiness and internal openness.
Exactly. Realization isn't necessarily a single scheduled event. It's about cultivating a continuous state of being ready for it.
And this is where we get into some really interesting territory, connecting effort to transformation, maybe even ecstasy. The wise snail has that vivid image.
Ah, the caterpillar and the lettuce. Yes. When a caterpillar first eats lettuce, it is overwhelmed by the sensation and in a fit of ecstasy transmutes itself into a butterfly.
The lettuce here, which the text says the speaker truly loved, seems to be the catalyst to wisdom, perhaps. And it causes this total radical change, not just improvement, but transmutation.
It's a perfect analogy for the kind of transformation both systems point towards. It's not just about behaving better, it's about becoming fundamentally different. It echoes the Gnostic ideal of putting on the perfect man, achieving a new state of being that leaves the old material self behind. You become something else entirely.
Okay, if the path is so internal, so focused on individual transformation and readiness, what happens when that runs up against external structures? Rules, institutions. Do they help or hinder?
And that tension is right there in the sources. The GUM, fascinatingly, ends with a command not to lay down any more rules beyond what the Savior himself appointed.
So limiting the authority of any emerging church structure, maybe. Keeping it tied to the original, perhaps more internal source.
It certainly seems to push back against codifying things too much. And then the snail tradition offers that subtle critique, right? Where the implied follower says, almost resignedly, they just give me these roles and I live by them.
Yeah, like just blindly following the script provided by the institution isn't necessarily the path to wisdom itself.
It raises that fundamental question for both traditions, doesn't it? Does external structure ultimately support or get in the way of this intensely personal internal journey towards wisdom.
And so when we step back and look at this Gnostic dialogue and these snail aphorisms side by side, a really coherent picture emerges for you, the seeker, listening to this.
Despite the vast differences in style and time, the core message is remarkably consistent.
Reality, as we perceive it, is suspect, maybe illusory. True knowledge, gnosis, wisdom, it's found internally, within the prepared mind, the nous.
And the path requires serious, unwavering personal effort, constant readiness. It's a struggle that leads ultimately to a kind of radical self-transformation.
Becoming the butterfly, putting on the perfect man.
Yeah. Which leaves us, I think, with a really interesting question to ponder, especially today. If both ancient gnosis and this modern metaphorical wisdom tradition agree that ultimate truth is found by, embracing the ocean of non-being or cultivating the void of an empty mind,
Right.
what real ultimate utility is left in the external things, the institutions, the rules, the material world itself that both traditions seem to urge us to transcend in order to achieve that transformation?
That's a fantastic question to leave everyone with, a provocative thought indeed. Go and be prepared, because wisdom really can happen when you least expect it.